You all know why we're here. There's often so much sham about this business of marriage. Everyone accepts it. Ritual. That's why I was so heartened when Alfred asked me to perform this ceremony. He has certain beliefs that I assume you all know. He's an atheist, which is perfectly all right. Really, it is. I happen not to be, but inasmuch as this ceremony connotes an abandonment of ritual and the search for truth, I agreed to perform it. First, let me state frankly to you, Alfred, and to you, Patricia, that of the 200 marriages I have performed, all but 7 have failed, so the odds are not good. We don't like to admit it, especially at the wedding ceremony, but it's in the back of all of our minds, isn't it? How long will it last? We all think that, don't we? Well, I say, why not bring it out into the open? Why does one decide to marry? Social pressure, boredom, loneliness, sexual appeasement, love? I do not put any of these reasons down. Each in its own way is adequate. Each is all right. I married a musician last year who wanted to get married in order to stop masturbating. Please don't get startled. I'm not putting it down. That marriage did not work, but the man is separated and still masturbating. But he's at peace with himself. He tried society's way, so you see, it was not a mistake. It worked out all right. Last month I married a novelist to a painter with everyone at the wedding ceremony under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs. The drug quickened our mental responses, but slowed our physical responses. It took 2 days to perform the ceremony, but never had the words had so much meaning. That marriage should last. Still, if it does not, well, it'll all be all right. For don't you see, any step one takes is positive, has to be positive, because it is part of life. A negation of the previously taken step is positive. It too is part of life. And in this light, and only in this light, should marriage be regarded as a small single step. If it works, fine. If it fails, fine. Look elsewhere for satisfaction. Perhaps to more marriages, as many as one likes, fine. To homosexuality, fine. To drug addiction, I won't put it down. Each of these is an answer for somebody. For Alfred, today's answer is Patsy. For Patsy, today's answer is Alfred. I won't put them down for that. What I implore you both, Alfred and Patricia, to dwell on as I ask the questions required by the state of New York in order to legally bind you, sinister phrase that is, that not only are the legal questions I ask you meaningless, but so too are those inner questions you ask yourselves meaningless. Failing one's partner does not matter. Sexual disappointment does not matter. Sexual betrayal does not matter. Nothing can hurt if we do not see it as hurtful. Nothing can destroy unless we see it as destructive. It is all part of life, part of what we are. So now, Alfred, do you take Patsy as your lawfully wedded wife to love, whatever that means, to honor, but is not dishonor in a sense a form of honor? To keep her in sickness and in health, in adversity and prosperity? What nonsense. Forsaking all others? What a shocking invasion of privacy. Rephrase that to more sensibly say, if you choose to have affairs, you won't feel guilty about them as long as you both shall live, or as long as you're not bored of one another.
I do.
So now, Patsy, do you take Alfred here as your lawfully wedded husband to love, that harmful word? Can't we more wisely say communicate? To honor, meaning I suppose you won't cut his balls off, although some men like that. And to obey, well, my very first look at you told me that you are not the type to obey. So I went through the thesaurus and I came up with a few alternatives. To be loyal, to show fealty, to show devotion, to answer the helm, to be pliant, general enough I would think, and still leave plenty of room to dominate in sickness and in health and all the rest of that gobbledygook for as long as you both shall live.
I do.
Alfred and Patsy, I know now that whatever you do will be all right. And Patsy's father, Carol Newquist, I've never heard that name on a man before, but I'm sure it's all right. I ask you, sir, not to feel too much guilt over the $250 check you gave me to mention the deity in this ceremony. What you have done is all right. It is part of what you are, what we all are. And I beg of you not to be too overly perturbed when I do not mention the deity in this ceremony. Betrayal, too, is all right. It is part of what we all are. And Patsy's brother, Kenneth Newquist, in whose bedroom I spent a few moments earlier this afternoon, and whose mother proudly told me the decoration was by your hand entirely, I beg of you to feel no shame. Homosexuality is all right.